Right, on over the ditch now. Absolutely wrapped to have Steve Telfer joining me from Stonewall Stud. Firstly, Steve, thanks for joining me.
Not a problem, mate. Not a worries.
Catching up with you after a big weekend, but always like to do a bit of a weather check. It's bitterly cold here in central Victoria. It's dry. We're in the worst drought I think I've ever experienced since I've been living here. But how's the weather in sunny Auckland, mate?
Well, sunny Auckland's been good, but today we have had a lot of rain. So, but not cold, mate. So no, I've got the shorts on, so it's not too bad.
You put the sister down in the cold area. It can be
Oh
very
yeah,
dry.
no, she's doing it hard down there in the cold. I was down there on the weekend, and yeah, no, it's certainly a bit nippier than up here.
I want to touch on a few things, one of which is the weekend, and what a cracking weekend you had. 10 winners, am I correct, from Thursday through to Sunday?
Yeah, no, look, yeah, 10 winners. We had a great weekend. Just everything fell into place, and enjoy it while it lasts, mate.
Oh, for sure, but I think you've got to celebrate them too. I think you've got, before we even touch on any of them, you got staff, two sides of the ditch, massive employment, contribute a lot. We're going to touch on the yearling sales, a couple of purchases later on. The money that's been put in, you need to get these rewards, if you like, and it's great that you have been able to get one.
Oh, absolutely, mate. Steve and Stonewall have put a lot into it. With like you said, and they're not just they're two fairly sizable operations as well. So there's a lot of expenditure. So you definitely need some money coming in the other way.
For the Australians, how many horses? Two questions: how many on the books? How many in work?
All right. Yeah. No, we've got up here in Auckland. We've got 78. And not all in work at once, of course, but and Mandy's got about 58 to 60. Yeah.
Yep. So that's all up. So not all of those are necessarily in work at the minute.
No, just 2-year-olds going in and out. Yearling's been broken in and that. So that's pretty much all it. We got about 35 or 6 broodmares at Dancing on Moonlight. So.
Yeah, and that's a different, I suppose, part of the business, which I might touch on even maybe with Jill when I'm over next time, and go from there, because that is an ever expanding part of the program that yourself, Steve, and Jill are all trying to do, to actually breed your own quality stock.
Oh, absolutely. We've bought a lot, been big buyers at the yearling sales over the last quite a few years, but a lot of it has been, you're trying to buy the nice colts and everything like that for sure. But a lot of it's been strategic, and the mares and fillies that we've bought, we had, we raced them and then want to breed from them. So, we've getting around and covered most of the families. That have been successful and been good producing mares. So and they've raced, and now they're in the broodmare band. So the idea is to breed our own, and then never knowing what you're going to get, top up at the yearling sales of what you haven't got. You don't know whether you're going to get colts or fillies, or when it comes to breeding. And then when you get your numbers, we'll go to the sales and top up of what we think we need.
Yeah, we're going to touch on that in a minute, because there's a different direction you guys are heading in. I want to just touch on some of these runners the other night. I'm going to start with the Group 1 for a start, Steve, if you don't mind, or All American Lover. What a decisive... Oh, that's actually, if I go to... something's happened there. I don't know why that didn't go on, but it didn't. Maybe that's why. I reckon if I hit this button now that's there. All American Lover. I'm just going to go back to the start here. Timmy Williams, this was a very decisive drive just at the start, wasn't it? I mean, he made his intentions clear. He's got the whip in the air, something that Timmy doesn't do very often, but more or less saying to Carter, if you're coming, mate, you're not getting it. So really aggressive drive, and paid off in the end.
Yeah, look, it is. He's he did. Tim was positive with him, and he'd worked good, and he'd been getting better with each race as he got more experienced. He's a lovely colt that sort of fits in anywhere. Lovely gaited horse, and since he'd been down there, he only got down there on the Tuesday morning, but Tim said he worked really well Wednesday, and he was really happy with him, and he was jumping out of his skin. So it was the last Group 1 of this early part of the season. So, we like to be positive, and look, he got out a lot better than we envisaged, to be honest. He hasn't really shown that gate speed, but like I said, he's learning and adapting as he's getting through his 2-year-old year, and he's quite an exciting horse going forward.
He is. I like this part here because he's a little bit like a betters. They're not push button, I suppose, is the best way to put it. They're beautiful horses, and just a little bit of sleep here, and Fugitive gets up outside him, and Carter's travelling better than him. But the grit that this horse shows up the straight, he's got a good future, hasn't he?
Look, he has. No, he has. He's look. The best way to sum him up is, mate, he's still a big kid, and he's done a great. He's raced great, but he still doesn't really know what he's doing, mate. Once the penny drops with him, and look, it has been. He's been getting better with each run and each trial. So, but he's still not the finished product just yet. So, we're looking forward to get him a spell after this week's sapling stakes, and towards the back end of the year and early part of the following year as a 3-year-old.
100% in the placings, 2 wins, 2 seconds, and 2 thirds. Couldn't ask for a lot better. He is beautifully bred. He's bred by Brecon Farms, I reckon. Could be, yeah, he is. He's a Brecon Farms bred horse. And what do you do? Like, obviously racing this weekend, and some of the better 2-year-old. Like, do you look after him for a 3-year-old? Like, because just watching his gait towards the line, then too, he's still searching almost to try and handle what he's doing. Is he more of that 3-year-old, or do you try and win a nice 2-year-old towards the back end of the season?
Yeah, look, he'll because he's raced quite a lengthy way into the season. We'll spell him after this week. The Harness Millions comes up in early October, and that'll probably be a little early for him. And then there's the size stakes around Cup Week, and then the Golden Gate back up here in December. And it follows pretty quickly on in, I think, February or March. They've got the Harness Millions and the Derby, which our 3-year-olds have just gone through. So look, he'll probably miss the Harness Millions and concentrate towards the back end and early 3-year-old part of the year.
Yep, and it'll be exciting. And your Northern Derbies, well, it was about a month and a half ago, wasn't it? It was run. So
yeah. They have about a 4 to 6 week period where there's quite a few group races on, the Millions and the Alabar Classic, and then they have the semi-final for the 3-year-old size, and then the Derby, and then about a month after that's the size stakes final. So look, it's in the space of about 2 months. It's pretty hectic, and but then they can go into the paddock and get ready for the 3-year-olds at the end of the year.
Plenty of winners. We're not going to go through each of them, but the last winner at Addington the other night, Akita, not one of the more fashionable horses, I suppose. 32 wins, 32 starts, 5 wins, but bred by you guys. Must be satisfying, these sorts of horses, when you breed them and have them from day dot. Must be really satisfying, this man, and the job that she's doing for the farm.
Oh, absolutely. She's one from one of our great mares, Better Be Amazed. She did a great job racing. Tough mare, Better's Delight mare, and this filly, lovely gaited and worked probably worked a lot better than she's raced thus far. So Mandy's been pestering me for 12 months because Better Be Amazed was her favourite horse to have her down there, and yes, I sent her down about 6 weeks ago, and she hasn't looked back. She's had a second and 2 very good wins. So she keeps telling me about it.
Keeps keeping you honest.
Yeah, she does. But look, we're thrilled with the way she's settled in down there, and seems to have gone on with the job. And she'll probably do a little bit more racing, then have a little break. And there's some mares races at the back end of the year, which she'll be eligible around Cup Week.
Sweet Maggie May was one of the other winners at Alexandra Park the other night. Josh Dickey in the bike. Lightly raced mare, but looks like she's a bit progressive, Steve. Got a bit of a future.
Yeah, look, her overall record's not great, but if you have a look at it, she raced in all the very good 2-year-old fillies races, running 4th and 5th in the size stakes final, and running good honest races. She's had a break and come back, and she's come back really good. She won fresh up, and then she was hitting the wheels badly, and and had to be pulled out of the race in the Oaks. But then this was pretty much her next run after that, and she. Look, I thought she was a little bit chubby going into it. There's a $35,000 final in about 3 weeks' time, which she had to go in this heat to get into it, and she should be cherry ripe for that.
She's a little bit like the few of the Sweet Lou fillies, a little bit green, isn't she? Head on the side and not,
Yep.
Not hanging, but and there's quite a few of them that do it, but they still,
Yep.
just then when it's there to be won, they put their head down, bum up, and have a crack, don't they?
Yeah, she does. Yeah, and she definitely fits that mold. Lovely filly to do anything with, and lovely gaited. And I know she had a head around, but she's actually a good steering horse. So she definitely tries hard, and she's a pleasure to have in the stable.
Yeah, and then Beach Break was one of the other good winners with Andre Portama, who doesn't do a lot of driving for you, but he got the jockeys for you this time.
No, look, Andre doesn't do a lot. We've got a few drives, but look, Andre's driven a lot of winners for us over the, back probably 12, 24 months, and he's got a great record with them. When he does get on them, he's he's a positive driver and puts the horse in the race, and that's certainly what happened on Friday.
She was a big week. Any of the Australians wondering? Oh, I thought you won the last at Timaru. You won the second last, did you? There was 12, no, third last. There was there was 11. There was 11 races on the weekend. No, you didn't even win that. Man, it was back to race 8. Yeah, you actually finished pretty early, bar Louis, and that's another very progressive horse. And as I said, we could go on about all of these horses going forward, but the commitment from staff, like I said there about staff, like Cambridge, Frank Phelan won your first of your 10, if you like, at Cambridge. The amateur drivers race, that was the last race at Cambridge, right through to a late finish at Timaru on the Sunday. You can't do what you guys do there without staff and so many people putting in behind the scenes. It's a credit to you guys, because without stables like yours, New Zealand harness racing would probably be lacking a lot of numbers anyway. Someone else might pick up the pieces, but the job you guys are doing must be a massive commitment from yourself, Amanda, and everyone behind the scenes to make sure all the horses get there, but all the staff get there in one piece as well.
Oh, look, exactly right. Really, really thankful and appreciative of the effort that the staff have put in. We have got high numbers in staff in both stables, but they put in really pleased with what they do and appreciative of what they do. You can't run two big stables like this without the good staff. So I actually flew down to Christchurch for the weekend on Friday morning, and the staff were in charge in Auckland on Friday night, and everything went great, and the horses went great, and just came back yesterday. So a lot big team effort, and the staff have got to be patted on the back.
Do you enjoy it?
Oh, yeah. Well, it's hard not to enjoy weekends like you just had, but look, no, I do, mate. It's a lot of planning and that behind the scenes, and but the best 4 or 5 hours is early in the morning till you get the horse worked for me. Love working the horses and seeing the improvement of the babies, and we probably concentrate on the babies, and that's an area that I like, and I really enjoy it.
Yeah. One also wanted to ask you about was Sweet Diamond. Where's she at? She's a lovely filly, but she's a bit of a head scratcher, I'd imagine, for you.
Yeah, look, she's a lovely filly, mate. Her form had just tapered off towards the end, but she's still raced well. She was a victim of having a bit of just having a wee internal bleed in her lungs for the last sort of probably 4 to 6 months, and she's been retired now and gone to dancing on Moonlight, or she will in the next sort of month or 6 weeks when she's let down, and we'll breed from her, and she's a big Sweet Lou filly with a lovely gait, and I'm sure she'll do a good job there for us as well.
That explains like probably those last couple of runs, like definitely a last run, but even the one, Tony drove a terrific 2 starts ago, and she just sort of looked a bit flat, and that's why I was thinking something not quite right. Must have been a head scratcher for you guys, I would imagine, as well.
Yeah, well, not really, because we knew what was happening. She'd been treating them as best you can with the rules here, and that's why she was probably fairly sparing. He raced in between races, and
Yep.
but just towards the end, it probably just got the best of her, and there's just a couple of below par. But she's a lovely filly and real speed, and she could do it at both ends.
Better Anvil. I'm going to call him Tongue Tie Gate. I was lucky enough to be at Cambridge and sit alongside you when he actually won on that occasion and had no right to. I mean, he was headed and had no right to. Last week he was awesome, chasing home two beautiful colts. I mean, I think Marketplace is probably the most exciting horse, and might even get your thoughts on him in a sec. But he Better Anvil from a start. You must be wrapped with his progression. He's a very professional horse now. His manners. I know that night was wet, but he just was green. But geez, he's going to be a lovely horse next year.
Look, it really is. He's developed a lot from 2 to this first part of the 3-year-old year. Really pleased to get him straight to the paddock after that size final. He's going to have 4 to 6 weeks off and get ready for a pretty good back end of the year with the Christchurch Derby and hopefully the slot race and a few races like that. So, I think he'll, being a colt and the way he developed from 2 to 3, just hoping he can put that same development in this spell he's having now. And I'm sure he'll be a stronger version of himself later in the year. He got the chocolates, and Marketplace have got really high good speed. He probably lacks a little bit of that real top end speed, but I think in time that he's going to develop into quite a tough individual, and hopefully he can pick it up there. But at the moment, they just got a little bit too much speed for him.
The other night, though, like, he had every right to drop out. I mean, he worked out of the gate, handed up to the right horse. Then sometimes, like those colts, and if you go back to that Cambridge race, like, he gets green and running around. They dropped him off that length. He had every right not to run third, and yet he showed a fair bit of tenacity. That's what I really liked about him. And you say there he's a colt, he's learning his ways. The whole campaign he's really matured, hasn't he?
Well, he has. No, he has. He's definitely got a bit of bottom, and he's quite tough. I think he sat parked when they went 151 as 2-year-olds at Ashburton. And he kept toughing it out right to the line, around 3rd or 4th. I just can't remember. But he is a tough individual, and there's a bit of consternation with. I know Marketplace, but there was a few of us that want him to park him out the other night and have a go. But Tim elected to take the trail. And he said he probably didn't quite feel as sharp as he had in the, because he'd been up here in Auckland and had those tough races, and then he just flew down there, and that size final was about 2 or 3 weeks after the Derby up here, and he raced great up here, but I thought he was probably just a tad down on what he'd done up here. And Tim said that he felt that way in the rains. So look, pleased to get him to the paddock, and looking towards the back end of the year for him, and further on, he's a good sound horse, and I think he's going to, he's pretty much only racing in the good races now. So I don't think that'll change in the foreseeable future.
Be a great horse to see across here, I think, with his toughness, and those Better's Delights seem to just continually improve. I mentioned there before Marketplace. I think at the minute, and no disrespect to Leap to Fame, but I just think he's the most exciting horse we have in the industry. Just your thoughts on him, Steve?
Oh, look, he's very exciting, mate. He's just got real point-to-point speed. A couple of times he's been driven back and, relaxed out the back, and the speed he's shown just really sets him apart from the 3-year-olds at the moment, and probably the ones going forward as well. Look, I was very privileged to get a close look at Leap to Fame. He stayed here with us up in the north while he went and smashed them in the Betcher race. Look, that was something different. That was look, it was just awesome. It was just awesome to even watch it, mate. To see what he did that night to a really good quality field, and that win will stick with me for a long time.
They're great horses. They're just so good to see and witness. And you watch leap to fame, and you can marvel at him. But a horse like Marketplace, do you marvel at him, or do you cringe and just say, "Geez, I wish he wasn't around"?
Oh no. We just no. It's great to have those horses around. They bring
Mm.
people to the races, and
Yep.
that's at the end of the day. That's what we're all about. No. I look at Marketplace and just look at how we've got to improve to try and get there. So yeah. Look, yeah. He's had a great season, and he did it in a multiple ways, and the Derby win up here was probably the one that stood out, where Johnny decided to take him on and see how strong he was, and he was very strong.
Yeah, I don't think Johnny really enjoyed that at the end. So, but that's okay. That's I think I'm here to promote.
That's racing, mate. Johnny always has a crack, and that's the driver he is, and that's what he's to be respected for.
Oh, and I appreciate your thoughts on the horse as well, because
Yeah.
I think that's what we've got to do, is promote these horses. And I'm not saying he's as good as Leap to Fame. I just think at the minute the
No.
excitement level that we
Oh,
could build around this horse is outstanding, and it's
yeah.
what the industry needs.
Yeah, we don't know where his bottom is,
No.
So we haven't been able to find his bottom as opposition over here, but yeah, we don't know where his bottom is, and there could be a lot more to come. So yeah, two different types of horses, but just great in their own rights. Yeah.
Do you have any quiet ones coming through the ranks at the minute, Steve? Actually, where's the good horse, BD? Is he still racing?
Look, BD had surgery on a suspensory. No, it's a tendon suspensory problem in the fetlock after I think it was a cup about 18 months ago.
Yep.
And he came back and had a couple of runs. He went really good in one of them, or missed away, and then he went to the Methven Cup, and yeah, that was pretty much the end for him. It flared up again, and yeah, he's been retired. He's at home there. Mandy looks after him, and yeah, so he's pretty much finished, mate.
Do you have anyone coming through, like like young ones coming through that you're a bit excited about?
Yeah, we do. Really excited about. Mandy stepped out a really nice colt early in the year called Son of a Mystery.
Yep.
Sweet Lou out of Luna Danza, Mr. Smarty. So he stepped out early in the year. I think at his first start, he ran home in 54.2, I think, at Addington from back in the field. Ran second, but he won a group race down south, and then being a Sweet Lou, he just he just fell away a little bit. So we put him to the paddock, and he's already back in work, getting ready for the back end of the year. And he's strengthened up. He's a nice horse, and also speaking of Arcateer and Better Be Amazed, Mandy's got an American Ideal 2-year-old called BB King that they really like. I think in his trials he got beaten ahead by Fugitive, and that sort of form standard stood up really well. So they're probably the two. And there's a filly. There's probably a Lather Up filly. I just forget her name. I think she's out of Larissa's Rose, I think. She's. I had a driver on Saturday. Actually, Mandy tells me how good she was, and yeah, no, she felt like she's going to be quite a nice filly.
You're looking after all my sponsors. Look at you go. You're doing the right thing. Brecken Farms winning, and Woodlands, and mentioning Lather Up, which is true. He's actually having a good run at the minute. So hopefully,
yeah. Well, Mandy's got that horse. Unfortunately, we the Lather Up is called Tactiva out of Tactiva Jane. Tack McLeod, and he came back into work and just had a small little fracture in one of his like his cannon bone, but it was so he went back out and he's back in now. But he on a short time as 2-year-old, he probably looked like he was as good as better as Anvil and the rest. So I'm looking forward to getting him back later in the year as well.
Well, that's exciting. And yeah, I forgot about him. And the one thing they all do, they seem to know where the line is. I know I get paid to promote these horses, but yeah, there's a couple over here. There was a horse one last Wednesday night. The same thing. It was never going to win, but knows where the line is and put its nose out. So
yeah,
great.
well, the ones we've had, we haven't had a heap of them, but the ones we've had have been really well gated, Paul. Lovely gate, and when the pressure's been put on, they've put their hand up. So couldn't speak highly enough of the ones that we've got. Like I said, we haven't got heaps of them. Probably only got about half a dozen, but they all seem to put themselves in the front half of the stable anyway. Put it that way.
It's very exciting. You look at it, as I said, you're looking after my sponsors. With NZB, one of my other sponsors, with the weanling sale on June 26 as well. I just want to catch up. You purchased pretty heavily again last year, Steve, and very heavily in Auckland. And I just thought I might catch up and find out where a few of these horses are. We start with the Woodlands one, if you like, the Adore Me, Captain Treacherous, Colt. Well, you can bet probably on both of them, as well as the Bettor's Twist for Brecon Farms.
Yep.
Both 320, 340. Can't remember the actual price.
I
Doesn't
wish
matter.
it was, mate. 360.
360, that's right. Sorry, very sorry. But how have they broken in, them two colts?
Yeah, look, the Adore Me one's been up with us here. We put him out for a month after we bought him from the sales and went through the breaking in process at home here on the farm, and everything went well. Some of the Captain Treacherous take a while to get gated, and I'd probably put him in that category. He wasn't perfect in his gait, but a lot of times the next time they come in, they hit them and away they go. But he showed a good attitude, and he took to everything well. The Better Twist one went down to Tim and Mandy down south. They were really pleased with the way he broke in. Bowled around good. Pretty much got up and got into it straight away. So they've both been in the paddock, and I know that the Better Twist one will be about the same, but I think the Adore Me one comes back in next week, so for his second prep. So pleased with both of them. The Adore Me one probably just a little bit behind in way of pacing gate at this stage.
How do you, I suppose, work with them, Steve? You do have owners there, but effectively you've got Steve to answers to, I suppose, as far as that goes. Like when you're dealing with these horses and they cost 360, once they come into the stable, are they the equivalent of the ones you bred? Like, do you just put them in that line, or do you try to sort of say, well, we still got to look after this horse a bit differently? Does that make sense?
No, yeah, it does make sense. No, but they just come into the stable and I won't say just one of the numbers, but they just form into the routine. They all get looked after the same, and like a lot of our homebreds, I actually don't even know what they're bred or what they're by. I don't like to have a preconceived idea before I start handling into them. So a lot of times I just know them as their nickname and don't worry about their name or what they're bred until they're running along and ready to be probably ready to the trials. But a lot of the traits follow through. A lot of times you can pick them up. The mares and the mothers do throw their traits into their offspring, and a lot of times you can pick which ones they are. But no, they just go into the mix, and the colts get looked after a bit differently because they've get their own paddocks and everything like that, spoiled buggers, and no, just into the mix, and they all get treated the same, and they pretty much just go from there.
They were both beautiful colts. That's one thing I will say. On the day at the sales, there was talk around one of them being the sale topper. They ended up equal top.
Yeah.
But they both presented their walk, their presence. They both were. It was actually pretty fitting in the end that they both equaled the sale record, just purely on the way they both presented and the way they handled the occasion, the pair of them, and the two respective studs looking after them as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, it was fitting. They were very hard to be honest, they were very hard to separate.
Yep.
I remember going up and having a look myself at the Adore Me one very early on. Probably a couple of months before the sales, and they were telling me up there it was only second day in. From being in the paddock. But look, he just got out of the box. He just led up and down, just did everything they asked him to. You could just tell that the manners and the approach were right there, right from the start. And had a look at the other guy quite a few times. In the 2 months leading up, and each time he looked at them, they just come on heaps and look better all the time. So both showed great attitudes, and willingness to whatever the handler was wanting them to do.
It was great theatre when you think about it, because I think your Adore Me was slot 70 and Better Twist was either 72 or 73. They were very, very close. It was a magic sort of like 5-10 minutes in the sales ring. I would imagine for you guys a bit nerve-wracking, but yeah, it was a magic bit of time to be there. That was for sure. The stable's taken. Oh, sorry. Keep going.
Yeah, right. No, it was all very close together there. Yeah, Steve keeps things pretty close to his chest. Probably the night before the sales, you do all the homework and look at them all and all the pros and cons, and sit there and work it out. But yeah, when I sat down there and got close to the sale, and I had a look at, he had to talk to us, and I could see what he was going to go to. I probably, there wasn't really any real nervous tension, to be honest. I think he was he was probably wasn't going to stop there. So where on what the levels he'd put on them. So it wasn't really nervous. It was just quite exciting. Yeah.
Do you just sit there and enjoy it? You sit generally, as a rule, Steve sits in the front of the box near the glass.
Yeah.
And everyone sort of either sits to the sides or behind him. Do you actually enjoy when that's going on?
Oh, yes and no. You've got to you've still got your, you don't want to, certainly don't want to go over the top, but I know when Steve starts bidding, and he's got his own idea of how high he wants to go, and he only turns around and asks when he gets to that level. So whether I should keep going or not. So talking like All American player, when we bought him, Steve was he was a bit reserved on him, and he kept turning around. I said, "I'll just keep going. He's a nice colt, So that one just kept going up to about a 150, I think. So where Steve was sort of looking at about 100, but he was a lovely colt, and he's come through it on the other end as we speak.
Do you enjoy that part? Like when it comes, like, do you enjoy it now? We're talking about two colts at sale toppers. You're talking about one that's half the price of them, or even less than. You've recommended him one. Do you walk away a little bit nervous after he's purchased, and then sitting back now, you must really enjoy it?
Yeah, well, no, I enjoy it, mate, because we've done all the work before, and it's not just front up the sales. We start looking at them probably 2 months out. And the actual sale day is it's just, we just sit there and enjoy it, really, and just put our bids in, and some we miss and some we get. We probably get more than we miss with Steve putting his hand up, but all the work's been done, and we just sit there and try and get the ones we want.
Yeah, it is a lot of fun, and I encourage people next February. I'm not sure exactly on the date. If you don't go to the weanling sales, it is worth going. I actually think it was the weanling sales. It was one of the more comical things I'd seen, that someone, I knew actually who it is, Tumby Park, Scotty Whitten, was standing directly under the box and was bidding against Steve, and watching Steve stand up against a glass so he could try and see who was. And it was one of those.
He does, yeah.
It was one of those situations. It was really funny.
Yeah. He does like to know who he's bidding against. Yeah. So you get the call, who's bidding?
Yeah, it is a lot of fun, and it does make a difference. The one other one I wanted to touch on, Josh Dickey's come to the stable, and you have made a conservative effort with the trotters, and this year you really opened up the purse strings, if you like. I think you might have been on the colt on the North Island for a while that ended up being purchased by Purdon's of Yabby Farms, but you did buy a tactical landing from Brecken Farms, love your doozy. The Nieta Bird Parker, who was a cracker from Yabby Farms, and then also the Queen Kenny, which is just an amazing family. These are serious trotters, very, very well bred, impeccably bred. Some of the best bred horses you'll see. Really having a crack now at the trotters, Steve?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Look, absolutely. It's half the card you can't win if you haven't got one at the moment, especially up here in Auckland. So, really, especially with Josh and the team down south with Dave David
Yeah.
White and him, you know, so look, they all broke in great. We got 5 trotters this year we're wrapped in. We got a Bold Eagle out of Millie's Gift off Nathan Williamson. You know, I actually thought we'd have to pay a lot more for him. You know, he's a real athletic, looks more like the Muscle Hill from the dam side. We got a Bold Eagle filly out of Girls on Film, which was Josh used to have her, and yeah, he just said that was the one. He wouldn't let us come home without that one. So yeah, that came back up here, and it's broken great. You know, great manners, and you know, trotted along good. And the Tactical Landing colt, yeah, lovely athletic big fella. He broke in well. They're close to well, the Tactical Landing colt is close to coming back in. I know they were down south. They were really thrilled with all 3 of theirs, but especially the Bird Parker.
Yep.
He was tough to break in, but he come to it and was rolling around great at the end. And the Queen Elida brother, he also broke in great manners. You know, wanted to just did whatever you asked him to do, and you know, I know they were both thrilled with all 3, but especially those 2.
I must say, I was at Laura Smith's for the parade that day, and when that Bird Parker walked in, it's interesting when you said tough, because you sort of went, wow, and then you looked at him and you're like, he's just got fight written
Yeah,
all over, in a good way, not an angry
yeah,
horse. He just looked
yeah.
a tough, strong sort of horse, didn't he?
Yeah, well, look, yeah, apparently he turned out that way. I can't. I wasn't down there when they were breaking him in, but Terry Schmill took him under his wing, and you know, and apparently, you know, did a great job with him, and he gave him a few anxious moments, a few tough moments, but you know, come through the other end really good. So once he got himself into the routine and sorted out, you know, he was strong in his work.
Look forward to it, Steve. I look forward to catching up with you again, mate. I've got to ask you about the most important horse you have in your stable. And
Okay.
I've left it. Well, it's named after me, CC Arden, Campbell's Commence Arden. Of course, Tom
Oh,
Tyson.
Campbell's Arden.
He
Yes.
actually didn't, but I claimed it. But
Hey Tim. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, yeah,
he won again the
yeah,
other day. But you just
yeah,
got to keep winning with this horse, just so I can keep telling people that it's named
yeah,
after me and go
yeah.
from there.
Yeah. No, he follows after your footsteps, mate. He's got, you know, he's not very fast, but yeah. No, sorry, I shouldn't say that. He's not very tough, but he's very, very fast. Yeah. No, look, he's got a lot of speed, mate. He really has. You know, Tim drove in cold the other night where he didn't do a lot of work early, and he finished the race off really good. So yeah, no, a lot of speed, and he's one of those. Look, he is one of those ones that probably wasn't a natural 2-year-old. And you know, he's taken a little bit more time, but towards the end of the year, you know, we're hoping he'll measure up to participate in a few of those better 3-year-old races, mate.
Yeah, he by Captain Treacherous. I think the
Yep.
CC was through the Captain Treacherous with John, but I don't care. I just claimed it. John, when I said it to him, he said I didn't realise I'd done that, and I'm like, it's okay,
No.
I'll claim it. So yeah, very important. Steve, thank you.
No problem, mate.
Congratulations on the other day, 10 wins, amazing effort. I think you're up to now about 58 winners for the season, which is good early in the season. Do you have a number each year that you'd like to get to?
Yeah, look, most years we do have a number. You know, have a look through the team and work out what we'll get to. You know, probably this year the only number we put on it was we had 116 last year, and with the team we got, we you know, probably just like to beat that. So not just 5 months into the year, we're probably ahead of schedule, and we look to have a stronger back end of the year. So with the horses that we've got, so yeah, no, probably that's the number at the moment, mate. But yeah, a lot can happen between now and then.
Yeah, definitely. You are, as you just said then, I think 740 runners last year. This year at 303, and you are exactly halfway on the winners.
Yeah.
The one figure that I'm sure you'd love to change is that seconds. You must get sick of that number 2 from time to time.
I hate seconds.
And we've got to up your trotters. You've only had the 7 runners this year as a trotter. Well, that's where we've got to get it up to. So, but we'll get there.
Yeah, no, we do, mate. We only got a couple of older ones, but Like a lot of the stuff is a lot of the ones we bought over the last 2 years. Yeah, they should start to come out and hopefully get those numbers up a bit, mate.
Telf, thank you.
No worries, mate.
Could chat to you forever. If we ever catch up again, we might just catch up on the horses. But I just thought it was a great time after a fabulous weekend. And as I said, well done to you guys, but also all the staff, because there's been really a team effort when you think about where you've been, and late nights for some guys, getting up early the next morning, and cruising around. So I think well done to everyone, from the drivers, the trainers, and the guys picking up the poo. I think it's an awesome effort, mate, and congratulations.
No worries, mate. Yeah, big thank you to all our staff, and you're really pleased, and hopefully we can keep it rolling.
Well done, mate.
Thanks, mate.